And we're live.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. I'm James Wesley.
I'm Seth Rudetsky. This is Stars in the House. I'm wearing this shirt for a reason. You'll know in a minute.
Yeah, I'm not dressed up to outdo him. He is wearing that for a reason. There
symbolic. Okay, so Stars in the House. We started it a week ago tonight. No, 2 weeks ago. Oh my God, tonight. It's a twice-a-day show that we do for the Actors Fund, which we always say is a misnomer, which is an SAT word, which means that it's misnamed. Basically, it's not just for actors; it's for anybody in the entertainment field.
Any professional in entertainment, in the performing arts, anywhere in the country. If you're in need of help for medical reasons, for rent, for utilities, for food, the Actors Fund is there for you. And we're not just talking about actors. We're talking about people behind the scenes. We're talking about your local professional ballet, symphony, opera. Any of those professional arts.
Box office,
that's right.
Makeup people, script supervisors, key grips, anyone that needs help, and a lot of people do. And here's the deal. Actors Fund gives help to everybody in the entertainment field across the country, but they need to give out more money than ever. They have less money than ever because all their main events, fundraising, have been canceled. Their big gala honoring Matthew Broderick and Sarah Jessica Parker had to be canceled. Their ragtime concert, which was completely sold out, I think it's going to be canceled. They basically have no money coming in, and they need to give out a lot. And that's why we're doing this twice a day. And people give donations. I mean, it's amazing. People give $5, $10, $25 from around the world. And since 2 weeks ago, by the way, we have no corporate anybody, but just these little donations we're getting from people.
No, by the way, we'll take corporate money.
Oh, we want them.
If you want to sponsor a night, we have had a few people do a matching thing, where they've matched whatever's been raised in a particular night or afternoon. And these are just a few that are left over from the afternoon show. And we want to thank Barbara from New York, who gave $20, Robert from Massachusetts, who gave $25 to the Actors Fund, and Daniel from New York, $100. And it has added up to we've raised over $120,000.
The lack of drama. In the last 2 weeks, we've raised more than $120,000. But isn't that thrilling?
It just sounds like you're saying it louder.
No, we raised $120,000 in 2 weeks. It's just so, there's no P.T. Barnum.
I see Carol Kane laughing.
Well, because it's just like, it's so thrown away.
Oh my gosh, we get it. Okay, we have to tell everyone what we think. What we know is big news, and it was exciting. Beginning tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on channel 106 volume on Sirius XM, they are really helping us tremendously promoting the show without commercials. And it's going to be from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern, and it's basically going to be the previous day show. So this one, with the reunion of Taxi, is going to be the very first show that's going to be broadcast on Sirius XM.
And what's the channel? It's volume.
Channel 106.
Channel 106, 9 a.m. Eastern. So thank you, Sirius XM. No commercial or anything. They're just really doing it to help out and to just make more people know about it. What else we got?
You know what? You want to do like that right there?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's the deal. So we're joking. We got like our hair cut. Our kid just graduated cosmetology school. So she did our hair.
We're fortunate that we have a live-in, someone who can do our hair and stuff.
So people are looking crazy. Everyone's like, their beards. So she made this video. Her name is Julie Wesley. It's our kid. And she made this video, and I'll tell you where it is, but here's a sampling. How to give someone a haircut at home. And it's so detailed.
This is like a short version, and then you can go to her Instagram.
Go to her Instagram. But look how great this is, because I know you guys are cooped up and your hair's looking crazy. I've been seeing you. Isn't that cool? So he literally gives you all the instructions. That's her Instagram.
And there's a longer version of it on there.
And it tells you how to do it. So and people keep saying how to do a man's haircut. So she's going to show how to do a man's haircut on James's mother because her hair is short.
Well, and my hair, she just cut my hair 2 weeks ago, so it's a little bit too soon.
Yeah, we're not going to use him. We're going to use Elizabeth because she has a man's haircut. It's all good. We're gender bending.
Okay, hold on. So I wanted to read a letter, Seth, because we've gotten a lot, and I'll pick one here.
You can write letters here.
That's right. Or you just go to our website, starsinthehouse.com.
Yeah.
Seth and James, this is from Barry from New Jersey. Just donated $250 to Actors Fund online in your honor. I wanted to share with you how much joy your show has delivered to me the last few days as I binge your shows. My son is positive with COVID-19, and I self-quarantined starting last week. I have developed some symptoms myself, so like many others, I'm home alone with a lot of time. Thanks for the education. Thank you, Dr. LaPook. entertainment. Thank you to all of our friends who joined us, and just good warmth. You, your team. Yes, we could not do this.
We have a whole team of friends that are just volunteering.
That's right.
And like not fun volunteering, like logging the shows and like, I mean, it's kind of.
We would have done one show, and that would have been it.
We would have done one show, and we would have been divorced. So thank you to our whole team that's helping. Keep going.
True.
We're already like this close, by the way.
Well, anyway. we got to say the joke for people.
Oh yeah, we basically said we're Lucy and Desi
because we had an apartment in the city. Carol's been there, and we have a house out in the country.
And now that's where we are. Remember the last season? They were all happy in their country house, and then as soon as it
ended, it wasn't just the last season. It was like the last season of the regular show, and then it went to the hour-long series for 3 seasons. And it was like you knew watching it in reruns that the last episode they got divorced the next episode. So that's what we joke about. Now we're doing this here in the country, and if this goes on,
a lot of smiling on camera, and literally this ring, as soon as the show's over.
On that note, I think we need to bring in Dr. John LaPook.
Yes. Okay. Here's our chief.
Not that he's our therapist, but sometimes he is.
All right. So our chief medical correspondent from CBS and the chief medical correspondent from literally starsinthehouse.com.
That's right.
For your questions and anything you want to talk about, the amazing Dr. John LaPook.
Hey guys, happy this is Monday night. How are you?
It is Monday night. It's hard to keep track.
It's very hard.
I have a question for you. Inquiring minds want to know, as you guys are teasing about each other. How did you meet?
Oh.
Please. We don't need to talk about that. We met at a game night. We actually met at a singles game night. So I love games. We were playing games, and there were single people there. And at the end of it, we got email lists of everyone who was there. And I basically asked out everybody. And the one person who responded, no, not really, but I asked out everybody. But also I was doing these Rosie O'Donnell cruises for gay dads and their kids. And I knew he had a daughter. So I was like, you should come on it.
6 years old.
Yeah, he just adopted Julie. So I was like, Julie should come on it. And the next thing I know, I had a daughter. Anyway, keep going. Any medical?
Was it like lightning in a bottle? What was it like?
Well, basically, I just broken off a long relationship, and I was like, this is my year to finally, it's been 10 years. I'm like, this is my year to have a full year of craziness.
And I figured there was no way I was who would want to be dating a guy who has a 6-year-old daughter, you know?
So he was over it.
I just figured nothing was going to happen.
I was ready for a year of wildness, and by literally our second date, I was like, we're going to get married. I literally knew we were going to get married, and there went all my chances for like a year of being a whore.
And that was December 26, 2006.
We'll ask Mary Lou what day that was.
It couldn't have been the second date. It had to be the first laugh. Because there's no way to resist that laugh.
Well,
I mean, that as a kid, right?
Well, that is true. It was a joke that he made, and I laughed. You are right.
That is actually what connected us. Very good. It's funny. Focus on the medicine. Okay, so what is the latest update? What do we need to know? Go.
So everybody needs to understand that the numbers are still not exactly real. You know, we're still trying to get our arms around a 24-hour turnaround, so that when you see these numbers going up, what exactly are they reflecting? Is it a pent-up tests that have been done over the last week, and now they're suddenly being added? But it's very clear that it's not just in these hotspots, it's moving out. This virus is very contagious, and it's eventually going to be in most places, and people shouldn't have this false sense of security because they're in some small town. So everybody's got to do it. We're saying it over and over and over again. Really do it. The social distancing, at least 6 feet, wash your hands for 20 seconds, cough into your arm. But there is some excitement going on, and this morning we did a segment on CBS this morning about the very first attempt to give two very sick people with COVID who are in Houston this serum, so antibodies from the blood, taken from the blood of somebody who had recovered from COVID-19. And the idea, it's as old as even the 19th century, but in the 1918 flu pandemic, it was used. It's been used over during MERS and SARS and this and that, but it's never really had a huge study to say we're going to take a controlled population, we're going to take a treatment population. So at first it's just really okay. It was okay by the FDA last Tuesday for the sickest patients, and then you're going to see these different studies where people try it at various stages of people getting, after all, when you start a new treatment, usually it's the very sickest patients. You may not see the best results initially, so don't be disappointed, folks, about that if it happens. Because it's only, there's only 5 people, or now I think there's twice that number in China they're reporting on, but or a higher number than that. But we still haven't had the real study. But it'll be interesting to see what happens as time goes by. Is it helpful earlier in the disease, middle, late? Who can get it? And then there's this antibody test, which is going to be a game changer, which is not to tell you whether you're sick right now. It's not looking for active virus. It's to say whether you were infected, you have some immunity, you have some antibodies. Remember the measles, mumps, and rubella test that almost everybody gets to see if you're immune? It's a similar thing. You can get the results in a couple of hours and know, oh, that cough that I had a week ago or a month ago, the sniffles, I thought it was allergies, I thought it was a cold. If it turns out it's COVID, you may very well be protected and able to then go back to the front line. So that's what's really hot right now. There's also a bunch of, they're going to be trying trials now of the hydroxychloroquine and Zithromax. And, oh, you know what we haven't said about that? There's been an underreporting of this. There is a potentially serious side effect of hydroxychloroquine. That's the malaria medicine, which is, without getting too technical, it's called QT elongation. Basically, it can give you an irregular heartbeat. And if it's combined with another medicine that also does the same thing, it can be a double whammy. And Zithromax, which is in a Z-Pack, the medicine in the Z-Pack, that can do it. So we have to be very careful when we're giving these medicines. Every medicine that can help also has a potential side effect. So that's why we need to do the controlled studies, not just sort of willy-nilly prescribing it without being careful. And if you can, you want to follow the electrocardiogram. But when somebody's home and you can't bring them into the office, fortunately there are these devices now. You can do home EKGs with your iPhone. There are various products. Talk to your clinician about that. There's a way to look at that.
Oh. So basically, it's going to be spreading everywhere. So if you think you're in a safe place, you're not. Just make sure you wash your hands. Basically, everyone should just stay home for the next few weeks if they can. Am I correct?
Yes, and perhaps a little longer. And I've been thinking about that again. I'm not trying to sugarcoat this, but what are the silver linings here? And if everybody really starts to pay attention to personal hygiene, we may see foodborne illnesses go down, which are related to washing hands and washing fruit and vegetables and stuff like that, doing proper food preparation. I'm fascinated. I spoke to the dean of the Harvard School of Public Health. They're looking at whether flu is going down. Is this a better flu season because people are social distancing?
Wow.
And then, of course, that whole getting together thing, where we're physically separated, but we have to stay emotionally connected. And you're seeing a lot of, on the Upper West Side of New York at 7 o'clock, clapping. It brings, it's amazing. It brings a tear to your eye, to hear everybody shouting for not just doctors and nurses, clinicians, first responders, the people who are delivering your food still, everybody who's still out there. So there's good that's coming from it.
All right, Dr. Boo, we're going to bring you on at the end, of course, say goodbye. If you have any questions, email us or put them in the comments. We love having you here. It just relaxes everybody that I know. You're such a relaxing presence. So thank you, Dr. LaPouf. Peace out. James, just want to make sure that because I know you're going to be doing stuff here, that if you want to go up and down, it's this. Okay,
we've got a whole elaborate opening here.
Yeah, so
we're trying to bring tribute to a show that won the Emmy for Best Comedy Series not once, not twice, but 3 years in a row. And if I remember correctly, and I know that someone will tell me, maybe Mary Lou, it won 18 Emmy Awards total.
Mary Lou will tell you exactly what night it won the Emmy Award, what she was wearing, what they served to the after party. I can't.
I see her nodding. So, but we've got a whole intro here that I'm going to see if I can do the technical stuff. So, Seth?
Okay, so this is going to bring back a lot of memories, people. I just printed it out. Here we go.
All right, Judd Hirsch, be ready.
This is your taxi reunion.
Judd Hirsch.
Oh, I love it.
Danny Devito. Mary Lou Henner. Christopher Lloyd. Carol Kane.
Yay! Hi guys. Good. Hi guys. Hi everybody. Okay. We just have to remind you, we're all chitter-chatterers. If you speak at the same time as someone else, no sound comes out. So basically, you have to just nod in recognition of someone speaking and then speak. Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, so many questions. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Mary Lou, for organizing it.
Yeah.
Let's talk for a second about how Mary Lou did this. Well, your comfort TV idea.
Oh yeah, so
I see shit.
how are we coping with all this?
Wow.
So many different ways, and I thought for most of us, there's like the whole idea of comfort TV, right? That we want to go with what's familiar, where we feel safe, we feel comfortable, and I thought, well, what about the classic TV show Taxi? And we know Mary Lou because she interviewed us several years ago, right? When we did What the World Needs Now is Love, and she was so lovely. So Mary Lou, will you help us? And she did, and she got all of you together.
So thrilling to see you guys. Okay, we have a million questions. There are 1,000 fans online. I got to start with the most just sort of generic.
Yeah.
How did you guys get the gig? Let me first ask Danny Devito. By the way, Danny Devito, we saw you honored by the Actress Fund. That night was incredible. Ooh, how'd you get the gig, Danny?
Okay, well, Joel Thurm is a casting director that we all know that was casting this show. And he had sent me out on other things like over the years, acting, positions. And he said, you got to do this. This is a great part. You got to check this out. And I read it, and I thought it was really funny. I thought it was really good. And I went to meet Ed and Stan and Dave Davis and Jim Brooks. And I went into Ed's office, and I had the script in my hand. I really wanted the part. And so I thought I'd do something a little radical. And I said hello to them. I knew I was going to sit in the hot seat to do my audition. And I said, one thing I want to know before I start, who wrote this shit? And I threw it on the table. And that was how I got the part. Because we walked right into their room.
Okay, art imitates life.
Right.
What about the brilliant Christopher Lloyd? Hi, Christopher Lloyd. Are you in your? Where are you in your kitchen?
I'm sorry?
Are you in your kitchen?
Am I?
In your kitchen.
Yes, just past the edge of the kitchen.
I can see in the background. Okay, how did you get the job?
How did I get the job? Well, there's a rumor that's been going on since I got the job that the guy up in the right-hand corner here, Danny Devito, had some influence. We've never spoken about it. We've never hashed it out, whether that's true or not. Anyway, going beyond that, I don't know. I don't know how I got the job, but suddenly I was called in one day, and I remember I had a friend, John Hackett, who lived up in Canyon, and he said he was cleaning out all his bushes and everything, and he found this jacket with a peace sign, and I wore that to the audition, and my ex-father-in-law's kind of worn out sneakers kind of fell together like that.
So you
Can I say something?
What?
Can I say something? Okay, so it was our first season. Can I say? And it was our 8th episode, and it was called Paper Marriage. And Lotka and this hooker Vivian were supposed to get married. We had just taken our first 2-week break. The show had just gone on the air, and it was our first one back after a break, our 2-week break. And so it was, September 22nd, 1978. And Chris came in and played Reverend Jim. And you could just tell him he did one scene. And it was so magical that it was unbelievable. He was supposed to be a friend of Bobby Wheeler's, the character played by Jeff Conaway. And he came in, and it was just so unbelievable. So then the 5th episode of our 2nd season, he took his driver's test and came back and he became a regular.
Was Rita Taggart?
That's how it happened.
Rita Taggart she was Vivian. She wore my old wedding gown and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
And if you can remember, there was the most famous 6 words in television history.
Yes, in the 5th, in the driver's test scene, of course.
Which were what?
Yeah.
What does
a yellow light mean?
Oh yeah.
I always remember the great line though, where he says he's reading what Andy wrote. Chris is reading what Andy wrote, and he says, "You will always be a tart to me." And Andy says, "Part of me."
How did you get the gig? You were later on.
Wait, who? Carol? Who you guys?
Frozen? I can't tell if she's smiling or she's frozen.
So looks,
Yeah.
there you go.
How'd you get it, Carol Kane? How'd you get the part? The delays are amazing. Hold on.
Carol, did you hear them?
You have to come back because sometimes people get frozen and you don't know if they're reacting or if they're frozen. Hold on.
She didn't like the question.
Here you are. Carol.
You can't hear me?
Now we can
How
hear
did you
you.
get the job?
Oh, okay. Yeah. How did I get the part was, I think because I had done this movie where I spoke Yiddish called Hester Street, and because I had to speak this foreign language with Andy, I guess they called me because of that, Jim Brooks and everybody. And at the time, I was such an idiot because that was in the days when people that did movies didn't do TV. And I was thinking, oh, well, I mean, this, I shouldn't do TV. But then I saw Jack Guilford do an episode. And I figured if Jack Guilford's going to do it, then I'm going to do it. And then from then on, I paid them every week to let me be in it.
That's so sweet. And what about Mr. Judd Hirsch or Juddy Hirsch? How'd you get the gig?
It's not a terribly long story, but I just come off I think it was 2 episodes of Rhoda, and then I did a play on Broadway with a Neil Simon play. So I was kind of like back into my in the best of what I thought I could do, which would be at plays and maybe movies. So I get this call to say that they want to do this. They hadn't even, I don't think they had written it yet. Well, at least they didn't send it to me. And they said, would you want to do this part? And I said to my agent, I said, well, what for? I mean, I was just about to leave for Europe with my kid because I didn't think that television was really terribly important. Certainly not for me. I was just, kind of like, I was a stage actor. I didn't want to bother going back to that. So I said, well, what is it? What is it? They said it's about cab drivers. And I said, oi, this is going to fit so well. It's going to fit so well. My father was a cab driver. But anyway, and also an electrician. But so I said, okay, so why don't I just go see them? So I go to see them at the Plaza Hotel. They had the deli. I think Danny might have seen the same thing, right?
Woo.
The deli, right? They had all this deli laid out.
No,
Danny,
there was no deli when I went.
Not with Danny.
What happened to God?
I went to the I went to the office at Paramount on Gower. There were a bunch of people. They wined and dined, Judd. They wanted it. Where'd he go?
It was deli food. It's not that impressive, but
No, but that was like in the Plaza Hotel. You got called for an audition with those guys. That's they have deli food because they're Jews, and they had champagne because they're rich.
amazing.
Danny, did you have any issues with doing TV? I mean, you had done Cuckoo's Nest with
Well,
Chris.
no, I actually like doing it because, I did a couple things. Like I worked in Del Vecchio once with Judd years ago. I really had a good time. I did a policewoman and a Starsky and Hutch, and I didn't have any money, so we're all looking for work. I wasn't like hotsy totsy. I'm not going to do television. A few of my friends thought it would be the worst move I ever made doing a taxi, but they were fucking wrong. First on this thing, I guess.
By the way, Dan,
I guess so.
I remember your first. I feel like I remember watching the very first episode when I was a kid, and you were up in that
cage,
and then it was that crazy reveal of you walking out. That was.
Well, Judd wanted to go.
Yeah. Ring up. Comes down the stairs.
It was the phone booth. Was the phone?
The phone
call thing wasn't working.
The phone booth was broken. The payphone
was broken, so everybody was lined up to make a phone call. Judd was, they found out that he had a daughter that he hadn't seen for 15 years. And he calls her in Peru or Venezuela or somewhere. And then he finds out that she's going to college and she has a stopover in Florida. And they all talk him into taking a cab down. Take the cab down. And I will, that's the story, basically, for the first show.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito.
I don't know if you guys remember this.
Mary,
I don't know if you remember, but that was the first time that anyone on television was allowed to say bitch. And that became like a big thing throughout the whole week for Judd to be able to say son of a bitch. And it had never been said on network television before.
We have a very specific question. Christopher Lloyd, this is very theatery, but someone is saying, Christopher Lloyd, I would love to hear about your time at the neighborhood playhouse.
About my time there?
It's a question that an audience member wants.
Well, I don't know how it's kind of like a school. There are courses, morning and night. But I chose to go there because a teacher there for some 33 years or something like that was Sandy Meisner. And everybody touted Meisner, and I thought this was the kind of guy I would like to study with. And all the other acting teachers were proteges and all that. So I show up the first day. I come in, I have my interview, but then I show up the first day, and he's gone to Universal, I think, to be a casting director. How do you figure? Anyway, that's what happened. But I did my 2 years at the Playhouse. When I came out, I felt I was just as lost as when I went in.
Oh.
So Meisner gave up. He came back to New York and he started some musical theater kind of shit. And I went back to him, and he had his professional classes at night. And I got into him, and he kind of saved my life. No, he was fabulous, and I began to get a sense of direction.
That Meisner technique. Now, Judd Hirsch, you were in the middle of your deli food.
I went off. Yeah. Okay. All right. I probably had to plug it back in. Oh, yeah. 3%. Now, listen. I was asking Danny, remember, in your audition, did you go to the
no.
You didn't go to that hotel.
No, when you went away, I told them, that was like they were wooing you. That was like hotsy-totsy at the Plaza Hotel with food and probably champagne and everything. I went auditioned on Gower, on that at head office over there. There was.
So, okay. So I got the good treatment.
You got
the thing is, it's almost like saying they knew who I was. They knew what I would like. This Jewish
some deli
Jewish guy from New York. Give him deli. He'll take the part easy. So when I got there, I said, what's the part you want me to play? And they said, oh, come on, we want you to play. I said, no, because I like to do languages. Can I play the Latka part? I said, well, no, I'm afraid we have Andy Kaufman. Now, the truth be told, I never really cared for Andy Kaufman's his what is it, Foreign Man? I thought, well, that's not a language. That's dibby dibby da. Come on, I can do a language you've never heard of in your life. Middle European, whatever. You wouldn't even be able to look it up in a book. Well, they kind of laughed, and I said, well, can I play both parts? And then they laughed again and said, have another sandwich. So, okay, so they told me what the part was, and I went home and I said, and my agent goes, he says, what do you think? And I said, I think this is probably a 3-year or more show.
Wow.
And he said, well, isn't that enough? I said, it's too long.
Wow.
I'm 42 years old. I'm not going to spend the rest of my middle age in, doing this one show. I said, I thought I was going to get trapped, really trapped. Wow. So he said, okay, well, then what do we tell them? I said, make them an offer they can't accept. And they accepted. And so thereby we have the story.
Wow.
The guy who didn't want to do it.
Why?
Then And by the way, then I did an audition, not for me, but for Jeff Conaway. We did it. We tried to get that part, the actor part, and so I said I'll do it with them, because it was inside a cab and it was about, we had guns as our head or something like that. But anyway, it was we had 2 black guys and Jeff Conaway, and I said, we finally went into discussion. I said, well, one of the black guys that said could play my part. He's that good. I said, certainly he's not going to be a failing actor. You're never going to believe that. The other one is my old friend, Cleavon Little. And for some reason, Cleavon was coming out of a bad time and really wasn't a very good auditioner. And then we had Jeff Conaway. And they said, what about him? And I said, I saw him in Grease. I said, but he was really good in it, Can he be bad? And they said, God, you never know. Okay, so that's how we got Jeff. I auditioned with all of them, and I was very glad that we all knew who the people from ABC were, and we had a really knockout discussion about how everybody was going to fit on the show. And then I walked out of an office, I can't remember exactly how, and Mary Lou Henner was sitting in a chair in the hallway. And I said hello and walked past her. From then on, she thought I was the biggest snob that ever walked on top.
Okay, can I say something here? That was backstage on December the 27th of 1977 at Chapter 2. It was not at Taxi, because I met you July 5th, 78. The first read through. But you're right. I did think you were the biggest snob in the world. But I was so blown away by your performance. But it was backstage at the theater. I think it was the Schubert, right? There where you did Chapter 2. Did you do it at the Schubert?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. But I know what you mean.
It wasn't.
Okay. So it was backstage.
Tammy.
It wasn't at the Schubert. No.
Really? Okay.
Right.
Okay. Every person keeps asking, please ask them. It's an old chestnut, but everyone wants to know, what was your favorite episode? Do you mind answering? I just keep seeing these questions. So, Mary Lou, you want to begin? What date did it air? What date did you film it? All the details.
Okay. First of all, it was like a play, and we crafted it all week, and they hated to lose anything. So the episode that we were going to do, starting December 17th of 1979, it was right before we were going to go away for Christmas. It's being shot December 21st. It was called Shut It Down. And it was so good that by Tuesday, the run-through, they said, we don't want to lose anything. We can't lose anything, but it's too long. So they said, okay, we're going to make it a bigger episode. And if anybody can handle it, they said Danny and Mary Lou could handle it because they'll work overtime, et cetera, et cetera. Wow. And so we did Shut It Down parts 1 and 2, where I go on the date with Danny. And to this day, my favorite scene I've ever done in my entire career is our negotiation scene. I had to wear painful shoes that entire episode because Danny kept getting funnier and funnier and could always crack me up. But that's my favorite episode. Shut It Down, parts 1 and 2, shot December 21st, 1979.
So, Danny?
Yeah, I'm just showing you. This was a big move. Waist. Yeah.
Right on my ass. Wednesday night, we practiced the tango at your house.
It was great. We had a great time. Those were my, is that where, what was the line about at one time during the night, you have to call me Stallion?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that
this
was
is what happened.
That was somebody, one of those nuts wrote that. It was a good one.
Yeah. We're walking. I went, okay. Because he says one dinner to save, one date to save cabbies' lives. And I say, okay, it's lunch. We meet at the restaurant. We sit at separate tables. And you said, no, it's dinner. I pick you up. We sit together. And at some point during the evening, you must call me Stallion. And none of this is negotiable. I said, except Stallion. And you say, especially Stallion.
I love that you guys remember so specifically. Christopher Lloyd, what was your favorite episode?
Oh, the one that was most memorable kind of at the very beginning was I just got into the show. I may have done 2-3 episodes, but it was still a new and different universe to me. You know, I hadn't been a big. I had been following Taxi while it had been running before. So I didn't really. It was just a whole new thing, and we break for Christmas, and they gave us the scripts to look at, during the holidays. And it's about I got a dead horse in my apartment. Yeah, it's funny now, but at the time I thought, what the fuck? Talk about bad taste. You know what I mean? I couldn't conceive how this could be amusing. But I learned.
All right, what about Devito? What's your favorite?
What? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree with Mary Lou. It's like that was my I love that one. I also like the well, he burns my apartment down. Like, see, so many of them. Like, the superstitious one was fun. With, where with the hat and the dance, and the catcher's mask, and there was so many. Really, yeah.
Well, that's Alan Kane.
Well, I think when maybe the one where Andy's character Latka cheats on me in order to not die. He's in a taxi cab in a snowstorm, and in order to keep warm, he cheats on me with his fellow cabbie.
Elise Beasley.
Elise Beasley. So great. Beautiful. And and then anyway, then our Benny Schiavelli, our priest, tells us that the only way that we can make the marriage work again is for me to cheat on Latka. And I'm voting for Tony, but that was Judd, and then I got to say this line that they wrote me: "Peel me like a grape so I can get out of here." And are you kidding me? To say that line, I just was thinking, don't let anybody take it. Don't let anybody listen to me because they'll take it away. It was so great, so much fun, and everybody was in it, and it was so lovely. Yeah.
And what about best episode of all time, Carol? What about you, Judd Hirsch? What's your favorite episode?
Well, I have 2, but I have actually 3 because of who I played with and how much fun it was. Chris tells us that I'm going to die, and then he gives us the whole story about how it's going to happen. That I will come out in a green shirt, a catcher's mask, and somebody will just mistake me for a woman. It'll be 7:00, and all the thing. Danny comes over to tell me that he believes him, and he believes that I should really get out of my house or something like that and really save myself. Because Danny is concerned about my life, believe it or not. Okay, so I try to poo-poo the whole idea. I'm saying, don't be foolish. This is only you have to. I'm like the guy who stands up for his fears. So everything happens. I get a call. As a girl. I choke on something, which Chris had told me would happen. I started to become a little bit gregarious, and I put on the catcher's mask and the green shirt. I start dancing in front of Danny. He says, "You got to stop that. You really got to stop it." And of course, at 7:00 on the dot, the clock rings, and he says, "See, I told you, because Chris had told me something terrible was going to happen at that time. I was going to be visited by something." Doorbell rings. Oh, at first nothing happens. So I start slapping Danny, and I said, "You're so you're a boob." And then he said, "I'm a boob." And then all of a sudden, just after that, doorbell rings, and a little girl is standing outside with cookies. She's a Girl Scout. She's got Girl Scout cookies. And Danny's standing there thinking, it's got to be the devil. So he starts shouting at the little girl. He said, do you see that?
Isn't it hideous?
The girl gets scared, runs away, door slams. And he said, did you see it, Rieger? Did you see it? Now, before I opened the door, by the way, I tried to open the door and Danny wouldn't let me. Now, between two actors, Danny put all the force he had to try to keep me from opening that door. It was as if we were doing a goddamn improvisation. I was thinking, come on, hey, Devito, stop this. If I can't open this door, we can't go on with the scene. And Devito didn't give me crap anyway. He was going to do it all the way until I finally was able to pull him. I don't know how I had the supreme. I mean, you know, this guy's
strong man.
Yeah. And I finally pulled him away. Now, he's done this a couple of times on this show. I'll tell you another one. The other second one I really, really love was Alex jumps out of an airplane. And we're having a discussion. I go through a bunch of stuff that I'm daring myself to do, but one of them is to jump out of the airplane. Danny wants to take out an insurance policy on me. So, and Mary Lou is at the table there with all the guys, and I come back and I say, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump out of an airplane. And Danny's now going to say, sign it, sign the insurance card. Mary Lou says, you can't do that. And now this really happened. Danny took his hand and smacked Mary Lou in the face on camera.
Out of the way.
And that
was totally an ad lib.
She didn't expect it. Nobody expected it. Danny didn't even expect it. He pushed her entire face away. All right. And the next, you got to see this. If anybody ever sees this episode, you got to see the look on both their faces. It's like he was saying, like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I couldn't do that. And she's going like this. How dare you? Oh, I don't believe you did it. That's one of the funniest things that I can remember about the show.
And you guys kept that take. That take is the one that's on TV.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
What episode was that, Mary Lou?
So many times we did things that were just spontaneous and they left them in. You know, and it was like they were because we were all stage actors and we'd rehearse it all week. Everybody was allowed to like make suggestions and do different things, and you know, they would add it and then they'd shape it, and things that you did became part of the scene. You know,
that was one of the things we were going to ask you, was all being from the stage. How much did the characters evolve from what you first saw, you know, in writing for the pilot or the episodes that you came on, Christopher and Carol? Like, how did it evolve?
And what did you bring to the characters?
What did you bring to it, Danny?
Well, I think that I think everybody will agree that we hadn't any idea what we were in for, but we were blessed with like really good, great writers all the way down the line, and they always supported our characters individually and as a group. So it was always, I thought, always very well balanced and very well, and not only that, but they were really dove into each one of our characters, all the idiosyncrasies and everything that made like Alex tick, and you know, everything that made all the characters go for it, work.
I think they found
they never let us down.
Yeah,
I think they found that they knew our strengths. They knew when they cast us all what we really could do. They really knew what we could do.
Yeah,
because they were ahead of the game. They were really ahead of the game when they wanted.
And they were, you know, and Tuesdays at 4:30 was our big run through, and you could bring anybody there. It wasn't like a big closed set. And Jim Brooks was so open about having people make suggestions. I remember my brother was visiting from Chicago, and he had a suggestion, and I said, "Oh, blah blah blah," and Jim was like, "Oh, then let's put that in. Let's try that." It was such an open season. But I want to say two things. First of all, based on what you're saying, first of all, it was extremely generous of Judd, who had done, you know, spearheaded Del Vecchio and had like Tony and blah blah blah, and he, you know, he was like on Broadway. He was so generous, even though it was Judd Hirsch in Taxi. It really had an ensemble feeling because of Judd's generosity. He let us all share. You know, you can say, "Oh, that's Danny and Elaine," you know, a Louie and Elaine episode, or Bobby and Tony episode. We really all took turns sort of being the lead. And I also have to say that based on their openness to using our lives, the crazy Andy Kaufman episode, which was the first week in October of our first year, it was all about Danny and his brother negotiating, having a card game for like what's going to happen to their mother. And there was a woman that was brought in, and she wasn't as good as Danny, bringing in Julia, his mom, who ended up playing his mother on the show. So everybody, you know, they were so open to any kind of suggestion or bring it in or make it part of the family or whatever. So that's how you ended up with Julia Devito as Danny's mom.
I love that. Hold on. By the way, this is still a fundraiser, just so you guys know.
Yes.
You guys being here, I can't tell you how much joy, like just everyone is just commenting. So there's so much joy out there. People being isolated. I'm sorry, there, Dan, you can look at it. Everyone's loving this. And on top of that, they're all donating to the Actors Fund. So we want to just read you a couple donations.
Yeah, there's a few donations. It's just a few that the Actors Fund is sending me. So Anthony from New York gave $25. Barbara from Florida, $50. Ken from Connecticut gave $100. Jerome from California, $25. And Rodney from Colorado, $100. Thank you all so much for giving me
guys. It's while this is all happening. So that's really because you guys are here. Okay, so we have 1,000 questions. I wrote down so many things. So one of the most fun things, I just love knowing about any mishaps. Like what went wrong in a set? Mary Lou, did your wig ever fall off? I don't know, something I need to know about. Did your wig ever fall off?
I didn't miss that many lines because I have that weird memory. But I always I didn't make the gag reel until the 4th season because I went like, oh my gosh, I have to start making more mistakes because it's too much fun. These gag reels are so fabulous and everything. But we shot an episode. It was our 13th episode, and every single thing went wrong. And it was the one where Tony and Bobby are dating the same girl, and it's like we couldn't get past a few lines before something crashed. So I just always remember that was our 13th episode, and it was a mess.
Was that the one where
Constance Forsland played the girl?
No, I was thinking where Jeff couldn't think of the line maybe 6 times over. We said, "Is it Jeff or is it Memorex?"
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Yeah. What about you, Danny? Do you remember anything that ever went wrong?
Well, we laughed a lot. There was a lot of like, we were. I remember a couple times just so the writing was really so funny, and we had such a good time. I remember a couple times really blowing it, going crazy, where I just couldn't talk, just laughing, laying on the ground, pounding the floor in front of all the audience with a total laughing fit. Especially was the guy I can't remember his name, who was a cabbie, and we all got together to give him. He was retiring. Remember that guy? And there were a couple of those, and they always had great supporting characters on the show. And
well, look at how many ended up in Cheers or different places.
Yeah,
We
actually worked with Ruth Gordon.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. At the end of the show, big bundle of roses came out. Garson Kane was in the audience. Yeah, that was like
an Emmy.
Yeah,
I remember he went for what you thought was her, and she went there, and then he hugged me instead. It was like a girl.
Yeah.
But I remember. Do you remember the other Gigolo? Because it was called Sugar Mama, and the character's name was Aharon.
It was a guy.
Jimmy Burrows said, I want Aharon to come over here. And she went, what? And he said, I want Ruth and Aharon. And she said, oh, I thought you said Ruth and a hard-on.
Family show. Okay, James is a question for Danny.
Danny, I was reading about your Saturday Night Live appearance. When you were a host and the show had been canceled by ABC. Can you describe that and what happened?
Sounds crazy.
Well, we're already booked, I guess, doing the Saturday Night Live, and I think that was the year that there were a lot of Emmys. One Emmys that year, and we came back at one point, and I guess I can't remember how it happened. Brooke said that we were canceled, and it was just horrendous. And I'd already booked the show. I think this is the way it went. And everybody decided to everybody come on the show with me, Saturday Night Live. But I never forgave ABC for that.
Yeah, you blew them up. Remember?
Yeah.
That was your whole cold open. You blew them up.
Yeah, I don't know if that ever happened. Why were we all in New York going to do the show anyway?
They flew us in. No, they flew us in. It was May 15th, 1982. But they flew us in, and you said that we had never taken our final bow. So you wanted us to all come out and take our final bow.
Came out and did the thing on Saturday Night Live. That was Lorne Michaels.
Yeah, and I remember kind of embarrassing Danny one time. I was at the Emmys, and I just won the last Emmy. It was 1983, and we were canceled. Same time. So I remember at the end of it, I said something, and I saw Danny's face in the audience because I was looking right at him. I think he was sitting next to Grant Tinker. That's why. And I said, and now I'd like to take this thing and shove it right up alongside the one I won in 1981. As soon as I said that, Danny covered his face. He was like, "Oh no, you can't do this."
You got to admit that there were very many moments in various public appearances and things that you just went off the rails and said stuff like, "I want to stick this up." I thought you said did you say you wanted to stick it up the ear?
No.
I think
I'll tell you what I said. I said I want to thank ABC for 4 years of Taxi, and I want to thank NBC for the last year of Taxi. And then I want to take this thing and shove it right up there alongside the one I won in 1981.
But hold on. ABC canceled it, and then you did Saturday Night Live talking about being canceled. What happened?
Well, Grant Tinker saw us, and he liked our camaraderie so much that he picked us up for another year.
You know,
That's incredible.
That what's his name? Was the guy who was the head of the studio?
Brandon Tartikoff.
That's right, Brandon Tartikoff was instrumental in that.
But NBC was in the toilet. The year he picked us up, NBC was the lowest network on there, and I mean lower than you could believe. They were really in the toilet.
And you guys looked at them,
and then they took Cheers.
I remember just a tradition, a Taxi tradition that took me a little bit to get comfortable with, but then it became very comfortable. Is that on Mondays, we'd be there at 10 and read the news script. And then we had a kind of an extended lunch while the writers fiddled with it. And then we'd come back and do a kind of a run-through of the rewrites. And our lunch break, by tradition, was at the Adobe.
Lucy's
Lucy's Adobe.
Oh, yeah. Wherein there were margaritas and other things to consume. And then we go back and do the reading like rats.
Oh, we did the reading.
I say it was that way.
All your minds like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do the script with your top lip sucked back.
We do like a run through, a read through, like on Fridays too.
Yeah,
we do an Italian run through super fast, or we do it like rat loud. And we did.
Yeah.
Hey, look, guys, look at this comment here.
Joel Firm. Tartikoff loved Taxi, and I was the head of talent at NBC.
Oh.
So we had nothing to lose by picking up Taxi.
Wow.
Yeah.
Joel.
Good
Joel
one.
Cassidy, Danny, he was the man.
Oh, wow.
So, Danny, you once mentioned like maybe there'd be a movie of Taxi. If there was a movie or if there was a reboot, where do you think? Where would your characters be now?
We could do it right now. We could.
So, where would you all be? What would you be? Would you have the same gig? What would you be doing? Would you be married? What would you be doing?
I don't know. No, I have no idea.
Same.
What do we do? What do you want to do?
I want to imagine
anything together. We could have a good time.
Everybody could play the same character. There's no age determination about this.
But no one has any success. Their characters are so thwarted. Do you think anyone would have become a success? Do you think finally, like Mary Lou would have her art studio? Like, would someone have maybe risen up the
I might have done it for a while and then come back and always kept my foot in hanging out with these guys because I love them so much. You know,
I think the basis of the show is that we couldn't get out of the damn cab company. You know what I mean? Yeah. And to change that, it would change the whole idea. Right. I mean, we had to come back as the same schmucks we were.
Wait, can I just say one thing about it? I don't know if everybody knows this, but it's something that we were famous for because at the time it was like the coolest campus of all the studios. We had Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Mark and Mindy, Bosom Buddies, Working Stiffs, all these things. But the Taxi Cast, we were the really cool kids on the campus because we had a party every Friday night.
Right, every Friday night.
4 times a year, we had a huge party in the commissary.
Those were amazing.
Amazing.
Food.
Champagne.
Everything. Everything. And the cast would chip in. We had a caterer, and we would have everybody from the entire studio would come and hang out with us on Friday nights after our show. And because we had Jimmy Burrows, he was so fast that everybody knew it was going to be like a fun night starting early.
Yeah, and we did it. The cast did it. The studio didn't do it. Yeah.
No, we did it. Yeah. I collected. Yeah.
So guys, I have a test for you.
It was $600. Let's put it that way. Okay.
Every time I have Broadway stars on, I've been making them recreate songs that they did on Broadway, like see what they actually remember lyric wise. So I thought it'd be interesting to just see if you guys remember anything from your classic films. So I would like to ask Christopher Lloyd, do you happen to remember? I'm going to read you a line. Do you remember what your next line was? I'll help you out. So you just said the only power source capable of generating 1.21 gigawatts of electricity is a bolt of lightning. He says, what did you say? And then what do you say next?
Could you repeat that?
Yeah, you said too fast.
Yeah, that's what I just told him, Danny. Right. I said, you got to go slow.
So you say, Marty, I'm sorry, but the only power source capable of generating 1.21 gigawatts of electricity is a bolt of lightning. I say, what did you say?
The future, right?
Okay, you're on the right track. You say a bolt of lightning. Unfortunately, you never know.
Great Scott.
You know what? Good enough.
That's it. That's
right.
Close enough. Danny Devito.
Yeah.
Did you direct War of the Roses?
Yes.
Okay, good. So someone says nobody who makes pate this good can be all bad. And what did you say as when you played Kathleen Turner?
It depends on what the pate is made of. And he cocks his head, and then she says, woof.
And then he says, Benny?
Yeah, he has a cracker in his hand with the pate on it. And he goes, Benny? Yeah. That was written by Michael Leeson, by the way.
Bravo.
That's amazing.
All right, Judd Hirsch. The big climactic scene, one of the most brilliant movies ever, Ordinary People. Let's get into that character. He says, Timothy Hunt says, it doesn't feel good. And you say,
it doesn't feel good. It's not supposed to? No.
And you say, it is good.
Yeah.
Believe
I don't
me.
know what scene it is.
It's the very big climax where finally you say it is good. Believe me. And I say, how do you know? And you say,
because I'm your friend.
I'm so bad.
That's one of his favorite movies of all time. You've just made his year.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Well, you know, that was a line that I told Redford would never. He never should have. Well, I said, you're taking the chance because you're telling psychologists to say to their client, to their patients that they're your friend and you hug them and whatnot. And I said, they'll never buy it. They'll never buy it. He said, I don't care All I know is that my 2 kids went through that and they never did it. That's why I wanted to see it happen. And I said, okay. And by the way, he did it in a circle. He put a camera around the circle, went around and around and around and around. And we did the whole denouement that way and finally came out with that line. Then I was walking toward Paramount one day and he was doing the last scene. He was doing the scene that he had to do in the tank when the kid drowns. And I said, hey, how are you? He said, how did it come out? He said, well, I'm doing the last scene today. I'm just shooting today. I said, what about that scene that we had? You know, the one that I had with you put the camera around? He said, oh, cut it. He cut the scene because he said, we already heard everything you said before this. I said, it's the best scene I had in the whole movie. And he said, well, that line is still in, but cut the whole thing.
Amazing. I love that line. Carol Kane, are you there? By the way, I can't tell if you're frozen. Hold on. Everyone freezes. Hold on. I'm going to bring her back.
Bring her back.
Okay. Hi, Carol Kane.
Sorry, Carol.
Hi.
Okay, so Carol Kane. It's the early 80s. Sorry, it's the late 70s. The phone rings, and what does the person ask you on the other end of the phone?
Have you checked the children?
It's so scary. Okay, good. Oh, that's scary. And finally, Mary Lou, you spent so many years doing this. Do you remember? Freddie, you'll see, you'll hold me in your arms one day.
No, Freddie, you know, you'll hold me in your arms one day, and I will be wearing your lacy lingerie.
Keep going.
Thinking of you, my heart pounding already. Knowing when you come home, we're bound to go steady. And throw your surface pay around like confetti. Freddie, my love.
Freddie,
my love. Freddie, my love.
You still remember it.
Get in my show, but yeah.
That's right. Oh, well, whatever. That's why I'm wearing this. Okay, so guys, we can spend another 3 hours with you.
Oh, my God.
And this can be going on for a long time. So we want to bring you all back eventually because this was unbelievable. I can't say the comments. I wish I could show you them all. There's so much joy out there. Do we have anything finally that we're supposed to be reading?
I don't think so
I see
right now.
okay.
Oh, there's some more donations. Just a few here to read that are so nice.
Final one. We have so many.
Yeah, Vincent from New York, $25. Thank you, Jaime or Jaime from California, $25, and Shell from New York, $50.
Shelly, I know that is. Hi, Shelly.
Okay.
Okay, and the final thing is, don't forget, I mentioned this before. Judd Hirsch, did you find anything? I said if you have any taxi or ordinary people stuff around the house or anything, anybody, we've been auctioning stuff off. It began with the great Joanna Gleason, who found Bernadette Peters' staff from Into the Woods. She found it in her house.
And that auction on eBay. Everything can be found at staffinthehouse.com. And that one, actually, the staff for the Actors Fund is already, I think, at $2,000 or $2,500.
Yeah.
The best thing I can find in the house.
Yes.
Probably me.
Well, we can auction off a Zoom call with you. And
Why not?
I'm just saying.
You know, if you want to, I do like one-on-one memory sessions with people, and you can auction off a one-on-one memory session.
That would be great.
That would be amazing. You don't know, Mary Lou Henner is a freak ass that can remember anything in the world. That's great.
I think everyone who's watching already knows that.
Okay, so we're gonna put that online. Okay, we're out of time. I'm so thrilled. So
it'll be like a quiz. I'll bring up the show. It'll say, do you remember it? And the person will say, yeah, I do. I said, what year was that? And Mary will give the answer. Okay.
The year and the date of the episode. All right, you guys are all amazing. It was such a
guys. I love you so much,
Danny.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great seeing you guys. Thank you, everybody. Tune in tomorrow. Stars in the House.
Yeah, tomorrow afternoon, everyone who's watching at 2 p.m. Eastern, we have
the cast of Frozen. We have Jonathan Groff, Santino Fontana,
Josh Gad,
and the actual people that wrote it. And then tomorrow night
is This Is Us reunion, and we've got some people on there who are going to be singing for us.
I just want to say one final thing. Okay, Carol Kane, I love you. Chris Lloyd, I love you. Mary Lou Henner, you know I do. Danny, I love you.
I love you guys.
Oh, what a great evening. Everybody.
All right.
We love Taxi and Broadway. Oh, let me say goodbye to Dr. LaPook. Dr. LaPook, where are you?
We'll take us out here.
We'll take us out so we can say goodbye to Dr. LaPook. Hold on. Say goodbye, everybody. Hold on. We have to go.
Bye.
Bye, guys.